is late on Tuesday. Mason's hours were upped in therapy. They upped him to 50 hours a month, so there's going to be a whole lot more therapy going on. Let's get started. I wanted to talk about sensory processing disorders because we learned a lot more with Mason and the way that he processes certain senses and how to help him with that. So these are autism teaching tools for sensory processing disorder. Do you want my help? Thank you for asking for help. There you go. So sensory processing disorder, it's basically how it sounds. Most children with autism, and there's even some kids without autism that have sensory processing disorders, and they don't know how to process certain senses, or it's too much for them to handle. So with Mason, because he's the only one that I have experience with autism, again, every child is going to be different. With Mason, he seems to have a lot of trouble processing loud noises, but like when we clap, when we do that, he'll blink his eyes. He tolerates them, which is good. Like vacuuming, he doesn't, I mean, he runs to his bed, but he doesn't scream or anything. But as of lately with therapy, he has started to cover his ears. He did this when we were at Party City, and I believe it was because they were filling up the balloons with helium, along with the noise, probably a smell in the store, the filling of the shopping cart, all of that combined into one. It could be one little thing that sets them off. It could be a smell, it could be too many people, too many colors, it could be the sound of the helium tank. But he ended up covering his ears and crying. So basically when there is too much, like overload of sensory coming in, what they want to do is, if too much of one sensory is coming in, they want to block out another sensory. So he covers his ears, or with loud noises, he closes his eyes. So he's trying to block out one sensory so that he can kind of handle the other ones. Basically, the bottom line thing that you want to do if your child has sensory processing disorder is desensitize them to it. Expose them to it a lot. You want to make small steps, so if it's a sound or if it's being out in public, you know, maybe take them out for 5-10 minutes, or take them to the park and keep them near you, and just keep exposing them for longer amounts of time each time, because ultimately in their life they're going to be exposed to a lot of these things, so they need to be desensitized to it and or be taught how to deal with it. So with that being said, we got the sensory brush in. I honestly had no idea what it was for. I thought this was more of a relaxation thing, but apparently it's to expose Mason to the feel of it. There's rubber teeth on it, and it feels soft when you rub your fingers on it, but when you do it all at the same time, it literally feels like, oh, do you need help again? He loves music. It feels like an exfoliator. It is literally rough. I don't even like the feeling of it, but apparently when you use the sensory brush, it's to expose them to that feeling, to get them desensitized to it. So when I first introduced this to Mason, he did not like it. He was squirming and fussing. So all in all, if your child has a sensory processing disorder, you want to desensitize them to it. So we have to sit down. So the peg thing, he doesn't like pressure on the inside of his palm. When he claps, he doesn't like the feeling of clapping, so he actually closes his left hand. His left hand is more sensitive to the clapping feeling. Can I borrow this real quick? No clap? Yeah. No, he doesn't want to cooperate today. The more we got him to do that, she also said to rub his left hand to kind of get that feeling in there to desensitize it. Mason also with the hair clippers, and you could turn on like an electric toothbrush, and because of that buzzing noise, he freaks out. So we actually have to make, I'm sure you saw as he was on my lap, he's got a big mop of hair. We have to make him an appointment to get his hair cut, which is, it's not fun. Last time it took about 15 minutes, which isn't too long, but with an autistic child that's crying, it seems like an hour. He was buckled into that rocket ship or whatever contraption thing they tried to make look fun. So the minute she turned on the clippers, which were supposed to be silent, but basically the therapist said to say it with me, desensitize him. So basically have the clippers on in the background when we're doing our day-to-day thing, eventually get him to touch it and reward him for touching it, then eventually get him to hold it, you know, he'll get used to it. And I have a friend on an app, I believe it's called Smart Mom app, who her son also has the same issue, and she actually told me about a play barber set on Amazon. So I'm gonna be looking into that to get Mason kind of used to the tools and desensitizing him. That is the word of the day. So that's about it. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm gonna be putting videos out. Share if this video will help someone you know. Like if it helped you. Subscribe if you'd like to see more. Know that everything will be okay. And I will be making another video on Thursday, at least trying to post it on Thursday. Say bye! Subscribe to my mommy if you want to see more. Thank you. Here, say I love you. Mama. Mama. Bye. Thank you for watching my video. Comment below with any questions you have or ideas you have for upcoming videos. Please subscribe and help me lace up autism.